Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I cannot believe some of the things I heard from the Honorable Member Mahadio just now. But, sir, I wish to state that he has actually said to us in not so many words what one Guyana means. The opposition and their families are not entitled to be taken care of by the health system of Guyana. That's what he said. He even took care of the members of the opposition and their families in this National Assembly. Sir, how more low can we get? How more low can we get? I would have expected, some level of maturity from that member. He's a doctor. He's been in this house for a while. He's been in the political arena for a while. I am so disappointed. Frank, don't get involved. Mr. Speaker, not my clown, not my circus. I rise today to add my contribution to the 2023 budget by thanking God Almighty for life and His mercies. Gratefulness is an innate behavior of mankind, all of us. And so while I thank Him for strength and mental wellness to serve the people of our dear land, I also want to thank the many public servants who would have spent a lot of time and energy in preparing this budget. Mr. Speaker, it is disappointing to come here again for the fourth time in less than 2.5 years to talk about the biggest budget in the history of our country, while the poor people are suffering, while poor people's homes are being bulldozed right in front of the eyes of our innocent children, while children in the Rupununi are sleeping on bare sponge on the ground in their dorms, while parents can hardly feed their children, but the ministers of government are taking home more than $1.3 million every single month. It is a sad day for all of us in Guyana when we have to come here just for due process to be observed so that the PPPC can continue to fill the pockets of their friends, families, and favorites. Mr. Speaker, the actions of this debate is so routine and mundane that the only important aspect for us is to ensure that our contributions in the form of recommendations from these speeches are captured in the Hansard and that it will be part of our history. I am fearful that history will judge us as a country harshly because the manner in which the business of this country is being done is horrifying. This budget lacks any discernible strategy to eliminate poverty. It lacks both hope and a model that promises development of our human capital. I'm definitely very disappointed. This PPPC-installed administration can only be described as heartless. The percentage of people living under poverty is getting higher, and there's little or no priority on supporting programs to highlight the village economy or creating work for the unemployed. And please don't tell me about the part-time jobs for $40,000 per month. Is that the PPPC employment mechanism? Sir, that is a demonstration of the level of disrespect they have for our Guyanese people. That is a handout without thinking about the future of our people. Our people is who will determine where we go. Is this how we are improving the lives of our people today? With part-time jobs, sir? Per month part-time jobs? Our prosperity tomorrow is doomed under this installed government. Mr. Speaker, there are people in Region 6 who benefited from the $40,000 temporary jobs. And you know, I've been going to Region 6 a lot. And one day we were midway on the quarantine and we stopped at Liverpool and I met Charmaine. Charmaine is a single parent who is from Liverpool, who has 4 children. Unfortunately, she was employed and placed to do gardening at the health center in the village there. Sir, $40,000 cannot feed her and her 4 children. And so I took the opportunity to recommend to Charmaine, I encourage her to go and apply to the region for public assistance for the 4 children, since they are all in nursery and primary schools. Sir, during the Christmas time of 2022, she was notified that because she was employed, she cannot receive public assistance. Sir, that is the prosperity of our people. Now we understand why the people in the Ministry of Human Services do not want the current minister that they have. That's the kind of policy that is in place. Mr. Speaker, this budget is disappointing and serves as a signal of doom for the working class and the poor and all of Guyana, except the friends, family, and favorites. Sir, these people sit in government on stolen votes. Fraud is all they know. And so looking at measures to reduce poverty, it will be a difficult task for them. But nevertheless, sir, I'm an optimist. And so days leading up to the budget presentation, I was thinking that we will see more money because of the access of oil revenue. I will see, and I honestly believe that I was so naive to believe that I'll see a vision which will translate to the promotion of equal access to education, creating real employment opportunities for our people, and at this point, a real policy for the reduction of poverty in this country. Sir, after 2 years and 4 budgets, people are poorer in this country. Cost of living is beyond what they can afford to survive. Sir, giving people cash grant is a good thing, and giving them the uniform allowance and so on is a good thing, but it's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. Sir, giving people cash grants is a good thing, and I do believe, given our reality of COVID-19. But sir, the worrisome thing about cash grants is the discriminatory manner in which it is distributed. Whether it was the COVID cash grant or the flood relief for the farmers or the cash grant for the fisher folks, only the people who are covered by the One Guyana slogan can benefit. Is that how we are improving the lives of our people today? Sir, a matter was reported to me while I was in my constituency, and I investigated it. West Berbice, Gaisuku employee received the Fisher Folk cash grant. Sir, how is that possible? What was the criteria for the Fisher Folk Cash Grant? And how did a Gaisuku employee end up with a Fisher Folk Cash Grant? Sir, I am awaiting the full report. Yes, Adil. I am awaiting the full report, and I shall make it public. The details of that report, I shall make it public. Sir, cash grants, like I said, is a good thing. It is a good thing as a short-term relief measure, but it's not an indication of a long-term solution for poverty. It is not. It is not a long-term solution for poverty reduction. Mr. Speaker, I thought I would have seen by now some of the more concrete measures and the relevant indicators for reduction of inequality in this country. None was forthcoming, and that's me just being naive. Sir, more importantly than all of that, I was looking forward for any strategy or policy that aims at promoting political inclusion. Sir, these are the parameters to a safe and prosperous Guyana. Political inclusion, reduction of inequalities, poverty reduction, among others. Mr. Speaker, this budget, I must say, is visionless. What are the indicators in this budget that suggest that at some point, while being an oil-producing nation, we will be a unified Guyana, where all of our diversities, given that we are multi-ethnic, multicultural, where all of our diversities are embraced, where equity is promoted, and decision-making processes at all levels, including the political level, results in equal opportunities and benefits for all of Guyana. Let me repeat so that we can visualize what prosperity means, Mr. Speaker. So let me state what vision means for a prosperous Guyana. A unified Guyana where all of our diversities are embraced, where equity promoted and decision-making processes at all levels, including the political level, results in equal opportunity for all Guyanese. Sir, the people who are promoting One Guyana can use that as a vision for Guyana instead of the current slogan. You can actually take out action points from that vision and achieve tolerance and cohesion in this country. Mr. Speaker, we on this side of the House have been articulating to the international community and the world at large that what we are expecting and we're experiencing as One Guyana, what actually we're experiencing, Mr. Speaker? Divide and rule, allocate the resources to friends, family, and favorites, while lawlessness returns and crime is spiraling out of control. Sir, every week, women are being killed. The number of children suffering and not being reached by the current system, and in each region, the cases are overwhelming. Sir, in Region 3, for example, Region 3 and 6, the cases of school-age girls who have been sexually assaulted and raped has increased significantly. Is this how we are improving the lives of our people, sir? How could we use words such as prosperous to describe this budget? How, Mr. Speaker? I know the 10% who are friends, family, and favorites will become prosperous, and the 90% of us will remain in poverty. That is so unfair. And you know, Mr. Speaker, in all of this, it is the children who suffers the most when things like this happen. I'm deeply concerned about the state of our education system and its impact on the future of our children. The policy shift in the direction does not position us as a country well at this time, especially since we are battling the effects of COVID-19 on us all, particularly our students, teachers in the classroom, and of course the educators in the departments in the regions standing strong to hold the system together. And I really want to pause to thank those education officers in all of the regions who I have noticed in the public domain, they have been under attack by teachers, whether it's justified or not. You know, I've worked with some of them, and I know how difficult it is to hold it together in the department when things are escalating in the schools. Mr. Speaker, we in this House must hold this installed government accountable for the direction in which this sector is heading. There are too many heads, and the education train is speeding away, downward spiraling, and out of control in its direction, while very little is being done to salvage the situation. Let me explain, Mr. Speaker. In this House a few days ago, Honorable Dr. Singh, who presented the budget, said that an education system that delivers a modern model, an adaptive learning experience is an imperative to realizing His Excellency's vision of a world-class education for all. Improved access, quality, and relevance are essential to raising Guyana's human capital to the levels needed to advance and sustain the eminent transformative economic and social development. He said that, end of quote. Mr. Speaker, that is excellent. I think that's an excellent goal on paper. But hear me out, because I want to demonstrate that what I would have said earlier, and that is, I'm deeply concerned about the state of education and its vision going forward. Sir, the differing views on the long-term goals pose great problems for Guyana because of the weak leadership that cannot transform this sector or this nation. Sir, while Dr. Singh mentioned the President's vision for world-class education, he did not give us the full statement of His Excellency. He omitted, deleted, lied to us when he did that. Sir, I recall...
You're saying the Honorable Minister lied to us? Honorable members, we got to, for the first day of the debate with all of these words, and we have to stop it, or I'll interject time and time again. Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Thank you, sir. I don't mind you interjecting, sir. I don't mind.
But if you continue to abuse a standing order, I'll stop you.
That's all right.
Okay.
Sir, the differing views on the long-term goal poses great problem. The Honorable Minister of Finance was being untruthful to this House when he made that statement. Sir, I recall that while the President was at the 77th United Nations General Assembly last year, I remembered he made a statement. But let me tell you what a DPI report dated September 20th, 2022 stated. It says, while President Ali delivered remarks as the chair of the Transforming Education Summit, the head of state stated that as part of Guyana's effort to strengthen the education system, his government plans to increase its expenditure by 20%. This, he said, was necessary due to the implications of the pandemic on the education system. Sir, this was September 2022, just around the time when they would have completed the half-year review of the sector, and about the same time Budget 2023 preparations was being done. Lo and behold, we are here today faced with a budget for the sector, that is only $94.4 billion, which is approximately only 12% when His Excellency promised the United Nations 20%. Mr. Speaker, is this incompetence, blatant untruths, disrespect?
Okay, disrespect is one here we got in the right, and the continued reference to His Excellency allowed your making comment with respect to what was quoted. That was fair, but now you are interpreting and giving an opinion of the president to influence the debate. I wouldn't allow that. Okay? I wouldn't allow that. And I was waiting to hear the time frame of this 20% increase. If it was promised within a... Yes. Go ahead now.
I'm sorry, his statement didn't give a time frame, sir.
Yes. So it's hard to call untruth, disrespectful, and things like that. Go ahead.
Sir, I will just say that this is the level of incompetency that we have here. Sir, my own thought of the statement that was made at the UN Assembly, the fact that we have a budget which is 8% less of what was promised or stated. Sir, for me, my own thought, that is a reflection of the infighting that is not recorded, that is not placed on Facebook, but it is the PPP power struggle and the infighting manifesting itself into government's business. 12% of this budget, sir, it begs the question, what exactly is the vision for education? When you can allocate that miserly sum to the sector, that is the main vein of our country. Sir, at this point in time, I would like to remind the Minister of Education of her own words in this House in her last budget presentation. She said, and please guide me here, sir, because I want to quote, this is a quote from the Hansard, what the Minister of Education said. She said, "Do not hoodwink, mislead, and be dishonest with the people who are looking to you for leadership." End of quote. Today, I wish to return those same sentiments to this installed government and to advise them to be truthful. Tell the people that the government has no clue on how to transform education and that nepotism is one of the gears swaying the education train out of control. Sir, all of us in this House should be held accountable and must never seek to deceive the nation. Mr. Speaker, I concur that 2023 education budget allocation should have been 20% of the national budget, so as to create the change necessary to continue the transformation of education in this country. Sir, what is the vision of this country? And I keep going back to the vision because we only been hearing about one guy and we have not heard what that translates to. And so I keep asking, what is the vision for this country? What should we expect as a nation by 2025? Mr. Speaker, we didn't have to go very, very far to research economic development for this sector or for our country. If only we had done a little bit of research, we'd found that the Caribbean Community Strategic Plan, they would have recognized that the human resource development is vital for our social and economic prosperity, regional integration, building resilience, and sustainable development. So this plan could have contributed to sincerely addressing our human resources development in this country, and it's available for all of us to have. Sir, the unwillingness of this government to go above and beyond to address sincerely the development of our human resource should be a crime. Mr. Speaker, allow me to focus on what's happening across the education sector. Sir, let me tell you what their own budget said to us in the last 2 years. One, the 2022 goals for students scoring 50% or more at NGSA was not met. Two, in fact, the percentage of students scoring 50% or more at NGSA fell from 30% in 2021 to 28% in 2022, even though they were aiming for 50% as their target in 2022. Sir, where is the value for money? In almost every area of performance in primary education, and to some extent secondary education, the percentage fell. They did not meet their targets. Similarly, the percentage of students with passes from grades 1 to 3 for 5 subjects, including math and English, only grew by 2%, from 30% to 32% when the target was 52%. This reality, sir, this CXC reality, is clouded and hidden by just a few students who managed to write 20 and more subjects at CSEC. This is so because the media debate is then taken over by how many subjects students should write, and when the real issue is the hundreds of students not passing math and English at grades 1 and 3. In my opinion, sir, that should have been the debate rather than people who are writing 20 subjects and more. Sir, let us note that the budget was a large one last year, but the change in results was minimal, and that is cause for concern. If we look at the matrices on our performance in 2029, that is the APNU AFC 2019 and 2018, if we can go back to that here, you can see that the government spending more money now. This government is spending more money now than what we spent in 2018 and 2019, and the results are woefully unacceptable at this time. And so we ask the question, what is different? We have more money, we should see better results. That's our expectation. What are we seeing? 43.1 billion for education in 2017, worst pass rate in math in 2019 was 39%. In 2017 versus 34% in 2022. So if we had less money in 2017 and we gave 39% pass rate, we have more money in 2022 and the pass rate is 34%. So something is not adding up, something is not right. The education sector performed much better in terms of delivering results under the APNU AFC with far less resources, and that is given to the sector. Mr. Speaker, you know when I looked at the budget, I looked for measures in place that will provide ease for the poor people. Not only the poor people, the disadvantaged people too, sir. There's a particular unit in the sector that is dedicated to serving our children with disabilities, the special education needs and disabilities. I have noticed when I look at the indicators in 2023, 2022, and 2021, I have noticed that the performance has dropped significantly. And so outside of the numbers given in the budget documents, I decided to do an investigation. I decided to speak to people. And what I found was some serious challenges, sir. To date, only the Sophia Special School has a practical instructional center in this country. There's a breakdown in testing and diagnosis of learners and time taken to process the results. This impacts the preparation of the individualized education plan. Sir, how one caters for needs of learners with cerebral palsy in the mainstream schools as well as special needs schools? I do believe that extensive training is needed, and it appears that we are losing our teachers, our trained teachers and practitioners in this area. Sir, currently, the non-academic standard does not cater for all categories of SEN learners. Will this year's budget address these deficiencies, sir? I am hoping when the Minister of Education speaks tomorrow, she would spend some time to tell us about the challenges and what the education system intend to do, because we want to create equal opportunity for our children in our education sector. There's a need for more skill-based programs for learners with SEND. We should move in the direction of employing medical personnel for each SEND school or center. More SEND teachers are needed, as well as officers, to better impact Ghana's special ed program. More training is needed to equip SEND teachers to better cater for the needs of our learners. Sir, when we commissioned the SEND Center in Region 3, we thought, that was one step in the right direction. It is important for us to understand that we have children with disabilities across the length and breadth of this country. And so 1 or 2 centers is not good enough. And I'm saying this at this point in time because this is the kind of infrastructure that we can put in place as an oil-producing nation. And I'm saying again that the 12% is insufficient, particularly for this kind of special needs infrastructure that is needed.
And honorable member, at this time, you'll need an extension.
Comrade Speaker, I move that the honourable member be given 5 minutes to conclude her presentation.
Thank you very much. Honorable member, you may continue to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I recognize that a lot has to be done in the education sector for us to talk about education transformation. Mr. Speaker, could we not afford to give our teachers better salary? Could we not afford to give our teachers better working conditions instead of having them in rain, under a shed, or in a tent to deliver their curriculum? Could we not treat them with a little bit of respect and understand that the law provides for them to have good working conditions? Could we not afford to ensure all our teachers are technologically empowered with updated electronic devices? Sir, I believe that at this moment in our country, we should write off, and hear me, sir, we should write off all the student loan debts for every Guyanese who attended the University of Ghana. It takes nothing out of us to do that, sir, but it would be a great respect for the people of this country to do that. And this is how we will create economic dynamism for our young people and, moreover, all Guyanese. Sir, why is it that after 4 budgets, our poor Guyanese student still has to pay huge sums of money per year to attend the Guyana School of Agriculture? That should be free, sir. Sir, we have, as a nation, one premier national university, and that is the University of Ghana. I'm proud of that institution, sir. Education should be free, sir. We can afford it. This is how we will develop our human resources in this country. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the Ministry of Education should embark on establishing a sports academy for our boys and girls who are so talented and should be trained. Sir, can we not incentivize post-secondary education, especially tech-voc education, where can we not afford to give our students in TechVoc a stipend so as to allow them to stay and to matriculate in their fields of study. Sir, I believe every secondary school in every region should be equipped with audiovisual and virtual classrooms in interconnected hubs. Mr. Speaker, every school was equipped with Wi-Fi under the APNU AFC, and I want to put on record, sir, 158 primary schools, 105 secondary schools, 30 TechVoc institutions, internet for the University 3 campuses, 72 hinterland communities. Sir, these are things that we have done as a coalition while in government, and all the ministry had to do was to continue with the infrastructure. And sir, we did all of that without all money. So I believe we can maintain them and we can do a lot more. Sir, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues earlier in the day mentioned that transportation to school for students is an economic burden for our parents. And so while the government disregarded the David G. 5Bs program at a cost to our people, a reliable and cost-effective education, school transportation service is necessary to ease the financial burdens of every parent. I want to pause at this moment to ask the Minister of Education if she can find the buses that are still working and assign them to the students of Christ Church Secondary so that that can ease the transportation burden, since she did a very good job in placing them so quickly at CPC, but we recognize that CPC is so far out of Georgetown, it creates an economic burden on the parents. Sir, could we not at this time engage professionals to develop local media content designed to shape civic mindedness? I believe that is a low-hanging fruit for the ministry. And as it is right now, it will lend, a campaign like that will lend to greater understanding, greater tolerance and acceptance, as we are one people, one nation with one destiny. Mr. Speaker, would you notice that I have spent much time on the recommendations and proposal, because I want it to be noted, sir. We don't come and highlight the challenges. We come with the solutions too, because we have a plan and we know what development should be, sir. Sir, I want to specifically highlight some specific negative behavioral issues and challenges that we have seen in the press. Sir, let me wrap up by saying that we have seen a cycle of parents beating teachers, teachers beating students, head teachers beating teachers, and parents beating teachers. There's a lot of beating in that whole cycle of stakeholders in our education sector. Sir, I do believe that the HFLE unit of the Ministry of Education can do a lot more. I do believe that the Parent Teachers Association can come out and do some work and not just sit there because we employ them as family and friends. Sir, I cannot, in this current form of this budget, I really cannot support Budget 2023. I thank you.